Hello and welcome to Joyful, the podcast that will help you live a more joyful life. I'm your host, Chloe Markham, and it's my mission to help you find more joy every single day. This podcast is a deep dive into ways to reduce your stress, your overwhelm, anxiety, and that voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, whilst also diving into the methods, philosophies, and protocols that help us live more connected, grounded, and ultimately happier lives. This is about living life on purpose. Without any further ado, let's dive into today's episode. It's a wafflecast, alright? You've arrived in the waffliest waffle chat. Go in. And with all that in mind, talking about joyful parties, let's have a joy, moving toward joy, blah blah blah. How are you doing? How are you doing? Hand on heart, babe, how are you feeling today? Look, check it out. I've got PMS again. If you have remedies for me, please send them my way. Email me, Chloe, at theyogarevolution.co.uk. I have PMS and it's bad all the time, all the damn time, my friend. And so I'm riding that wave today. Yes, I am tempted to eat my body weight in chocolate. You want to bring some over? I'd like that. But how are you doing? I don't know where you're listening to this. You might be driving, you might be walking, you might be sat. I don't know, but how are you feeling in your body? What's going on internally in your system and structure today? How are you doing emotionally today? Frazzled, whatever. Just notice it. Because, I always say this. There's this kind of boring trait. Hey, how are you doing? Hey, I'm good, thanks. How are you? Right? That we go through all the time. And it's so pointless, really. Maybe we can just start asking ourselves and each other, for real, are you okay? You doing alright? What can we do to help you feel a little bit more alive today, a little bit more joyful and connected and grounded and calm? And maybe it's just listening to me waffle on about fucking nothing, which is the theme of today's episode. No, not really. You know what? I needed to take a breath. Maybe you do too. I kind of forgot. Let's take a breath. But this is a yoga podcast, right? So I know you love yoga. No, I don't talk about yoga a lot, do I? Weirdly enough. But I'm recording this in November 2023. So obviously soon it will be 2024. What's going to happen in 2024? Is the world going to explode? Who knows? But I do know that I'm moving the Yoga Revolution in slightly different ways. And I might get a little bit raw in this episode because it feels fairly monumental for me. So to give you the backstory, I had a wonderful partner for a long time. You may have met him, great guy. And he was definitely a big part of the Yoga Revolution pre-COVID, and that was important, really important and valuable, and it felt like a team effort. That relationship since went very south, and I am no longer with him. I do wish him well, but it didn't go very well toward the end, you know what I'm saying? But it took me a long time to come out the other side of that. And I'm speaking to you now almost 2 years to the day of leaving that relationship. I have been through other relationships, a lot of trauma, a lot of my own kind of darkness coming out of that for lots of different reasons, and so necessary, can I just say? So it's all been really, really necessary, and now I'm in definitely the most mature and grounded relationship of my life. And it's wonderful. But what's more wonderful about it is I'm really retaining my individualness, which I never really had before. And so there is a point, I promise. The Yoga Revolution is now, it's an extension of me. It always is. Anyone who has a business, your business is kind of your child, and how you feel and your energy and your excitement moves into your business, right? Especially when you're a one-man show. And like I said, it's taken me a long time to get where I am today, 2 years after leaving an 8-year relationship. Got fairly bad at the end, you know. It's taken me a long time. And the pandemic was what, 2020? Christ, like 3 years ago. It's taken me a long time to understand what what I want my business to look like and what I want the world to look like because of me being in it. So the yoga revolution is changing because of all of that, and it feels really monumental and exciting. And so I wanted to speak today to the concept of yoga and why yoga is basically a trick. As far as I'm concerned, I'm tricking you into actually not just doing yoga, right? Moving and breathing and la 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 la, get a nice man, you get some Lululemon leggings, you don't have to do that at all, but it becomes, yoga's like a tool we use. It's like on one hand I'm saying, hey babe, come practice yoga with me, and then I get you into the cult, and then we're like, okay, we're gonna start like messing with your mind and making you think that the spaghetti god lives in the sky. No, but it's kind of like that in that it's a gateway for me to help us all start to see our lives as very finite, very wonderful, miraculous blasts of joy, right, that we can start to find every day. Oh my god. So that's kind of what I want to, not kind of, that is what I want to do. That is what I want to show you. The power that lies not just in yoga, but beyond yoga. And so I want to just use this moment in this episode to remind you what yoga is and what it isn't. And actually, this has been something that's played on my mind for such a long time. I keep getting adverts, you know, I'm a yogi, whatever. I follow a bunch of shit stuff on Instagram, and it mostly is shit. Can I just say, I need to purge that stuff. But I get so many adverts for like, hey babe, do you want to do this? And it's some skinny, model-looking woman in scorpion pose. And if you don't know scorpion pose, that is where you're balancing on your forearms and your feet are over your head. So it's a back bend, we would say, a back bend. Your feet are kind of touching the back of your head, right, whilst you're balancing on your forearms. Do you want to do this? Yeah, you do, right? Or like handstands, or floating to handstand in the middle of like a crazy busy New York street. Do you want to do this? Well, here's the program you need to do. You need to pay me like £1,000 or what, dollars, whatever, and do this course with me. And I promise you, you're gonna look like me. And oh my god, I had so many problems with that. I have so many issues with it. I have questions. I don't have questions because I know exactly what's going on here. It's acrobat style yoga teachers, or maybe they're acrobats or gymnasts, I don't know, making money, and that's okay. And do you know what? Fine, there's a market for that. If that's you, please probably stop listening to this podcast and go do that. But you know, my issue is that Instagram and general society at large makes us think that if we can do that scorpion pose or float into a handstand, you know, at any given moment and have snaps for the gram, then we are somehow better. I've spoken about this so much in the podcast, this idea of enoughness. And I have this so much, is like, I spoke about in the habits one, I think. I'm not sure. But if I do all of these things, if I'm really funny in group circles, in group scenarios, if I'm, you know, really intelligent, if I can win a pub quiz, if I can put my leg behind my head, then I am therefore worthy of time or something. It's, I don't know. And this is a psychologist's like wet dream, isn't it? We could kind of go back to that, all that childhood trauma that we build up of not being loved enough or not being good enough or whatever it is. We all have something like that going on. Anyway, fucking hell, I'm really dissecting this, aren't I? But I just think that, look, you know, that isn't necessarily yoga. It might be an outcome of a big fat yoga practice, a big asana practice, you know, doing these crazy poses. But I just want us to take a minute to ask ourselves why we want to practice yoga. And look, there is absolutely zero judgment from me. I promise. I know it doesn't sound like it, but there's zero judgment from me when it comes to that as your motivation for movement, because 15 years ago, whenever it was, 20 years ago, when I started a yoga practice, I started it because I felt out of shape, I felt fat, I felt incapable, and I wanted to be able to touch my toes with straight legs. I get that. I so understand. And also, I know that I'm speaking to you who might not be able to touch your toes with straight legs, who might struggle to get off the floor, get up off the floor without using your hands, who might struggle to sit cross-legged, right? Or like all of these things. I understand. There is a need, isn't there, for us physiologically to take care of ourselves. We want to take care of ourselves. We want to get older without creaks and aches and pains. And I understand. Come on, I get it. So, but that's a really lovely thing. I'm going to practice yoga or whatever this movement discipline is so that I'm taking care of my physical body, my heart health, my bone strength, my lung capacity, my mobility, my strength. Oh, no. Like, yes, wonderful. But when we start to say, oh, I want to do this movement discipline because I want to get my leg behind my head. Can I just stop you a second and remind you that there are an inordinate amount of hip replacements that happen within the yoga industry? Because exactly of that, right? Because we're saying, oh yeah, I want to get my leg behind my head. Why do we want to do that? That's not helping anybody. You don't need that in day-to-day life, right? So what I'm saying is let's bring it back to reality. Back to life. You know what I'm saying? Back to reality. We don't need to stand on our hands necessarily in the middle of a wedding photo shoot. For fuck's sake, Sharon. Like, pull yourself together. You know, right. So what am I saying? I feel like I've gone off tangent. Yoga's a brilliant tool. So if we rewind it a second, I want you to drop, if you have them, these notions, these ideas of doing the splits. Who gives a fuck? No one cares. It's not going to really benefit you that much, I promise. It's probably going to damage you more than anything else. This drive to bend our bodies in really strange ways. Unless you're a performer, I mean, even then, like, be nice to yourself, right? So, I'm trying to stick to the point. I could waffle about this all fucking day. No, but like that, and but also, I mean, if we really dissect yoga, if we go back into the history of yoga and how rich that is, and that's for another podcast, and I'm not the person best set to talk about that. And I know if you're maybe a hardcore yoga teacher, you'll probably have an issue with me saying that. There's a lot of struggles, I think, within yoga teachers, like, oh, you don't know enough, or you're not serving the original lineage of yoga enough. I understand that. I'm doing my best, all right? I think, look, yeah, there are 8 limbs. If we talk about yoga, there are 8 different disciplines within yoga. Asana, the physical movement practice, is just one of them, of 8 different things. So that's why I'm saying, like, the physical movement, yoga, come to yoga with me. And I'm going to show you, like, all these other things that you're going to benefit from. That's kind of my point. Moving into this next year and this new era, this Chloe era of my business. This healed, exciting era of my business. That's how I feel. That's how I'm approaching it. So I'm not going to speak to the 8 limbs. I'm not the person best. I might get a guest on one day. You never know. But just kind of to summarize how I see that is like, and you know, I've spoken about my life mission. What is yours? Go back and listen to that episode, mate, because you need to. This stuff is important. And mine is to promote and facilitate authentic happiness and enjoyment for living, because we're not alive to pay bills, get a mortgage, have children, and die. That's not our mission in life, I don't think. Our mission, however you think about all of the stuff I've just mentioned, is to enjoy our lives, because we only have one and it's finite and wonderful. And oh my god, it's nice to be alive in a world where puppies and oceans and caramel exist, right? So that is what the rest, for me, the rest of these 7 limbs, I mean, the yoga too, that's what they're about. So we have things like a breath practice. I want you to understand, as you practice yoga, as you dive into this, your nervous system better. Please listen to the podcast, because really the podcast, I'm really blessed by, that I've started a podcast, really, because it's forced me to talk about things with you, hey babe, that I perhaps wouldn't have spoken about, and it's encouraged me to really think about what it is I want to do for you and for my members and in the business of the Yoga Revolution. So yeah, I'm going to be diving into the nervous system stuff. I'm going to be diving into physiology, but also philosophy. I studied philosophy at GCSE. I mean, I'm such an expert. But it's important. The way that we approach our lives is important. So that's going to be the future of the Yoga Revolution. More of the in-depth, the other kind of 7 limbs of yoga. How do you approach your life? And so I suppose the point of this podcast, I'm talking about the future of my membership, right? Become a member if you want. You don't have to. I speak about a lot of this stuff here, as you know. But the point, and I suppose why I'm speaking to you about this, is because the Yoga Revolution is like more than just yoga, and it always has been this joyful expression of this movement practice. But for you, and how I want you to see movement practice and your life, is more than just leg behind my head, more than just handstand, more than just, I want to be able to do 75 press-ups. Can we have some substance to it? Can we start to see everything in our lives, our careers, our families, the way we interact with people and problems, the way we drive and eat, the food we eat? And I'm not saying to be vegan, just FYI. The way we move our bodies, the things we watch on telly, to be a conscious, mindful expression of how good it is to be alive. And I just want you to hear what I've just said. A conscious expression of how good it is to be alive. So I'm not then saying only eat vegan, only drink kale smoothies, whatever. I'm not saying only watch TED Talks and educational documentaries, whatever. Only, I don't know, practice meditation. Don't drink alcohol. I'm not saying any of these things. I think the point is that I want you to take care of yourself. Sometimes that means going out and getting a little leery, a little drunk. I don't know. Sometimes that means watching Selling Fucking Sunset. Guys, have you seen that? Jesus Christ. I mean, the outfits for one. And also, you guys heard of empathy? I don't know if you're in the market, but I know where you can get some. Consciously doing stuff. And I think consciously doing stuff, like always finding your way back to a balance, trying to find your way back to balance, with the ultimate aim being, I want to enjoy my time of being alive. With people I love, with things I love, even if that's selling sunset and McDonald's for breakfast every day. Find some balance, love yourself, prioritize yourself. And as soon as we start to do that and prioritize our things and our stuff and our bodies and our health and our mental health and our happiness and the love that's in our lives and the people that are in our lives as an extension of ourselves, as soon as we start to do that, life gets even better, even more sparkly and bright, even more capable, even more creative and colourful and light. And that's what I'm talking about. And so, going back to that rawness that I mentioned at the beginning, if you're going through a hard time right now, as I did, I mean, I was going through the hardest time I've ever been through in my life. On another note, I lost a bunch of weight because I literally couldn't eat. And can I just say the amount of comments I got about, oh my god, you look so good. No. No. And I've gained weight again because, you know what, I'm happy and I can eat food. But if you're going through a difficult time, know that it won't last forever. It can't possibly last forever. What you need to do, which is probably the hardest thing to do, is lean back and accept it. Throw your hands in the air. I said this in an email today. Like you're riding on a roller coaster, and just allow this crazy ride to take you wherever it needs to take you. And I'll finish with this. You have no idea, zero idea of the solutions that are going to present themselves to you in relation to the problems that you're facing right now. You have no idea how much magic is about to come your way. We think when we see a problem, when we see an obstacle in our path, we think of solution A, B, and C. And actually none of them work. And it's horrible. And oh my god, I'm going to have a toddler tantrum about this. I'm going to freak out. I'm going to have a meltdown. I'm going to suffer with anxiety because of this. I'm going to worry. And I'm not here to say don't worry, because wow, you can't say that to people. I can't say that to myself. Worrying just happened. But what if, and this is truth, I'm speaking to Ruth, my friend, what if there's solutions out there that aren't A, B, or C? But something outside of the realms of an alphabet that you can't even imagine? Because there are. Like, if I look at my trajectory from leaving quite a toxic relationship to where I am now, I couldn't even imagine the kind of relationship I'm in now, or the route that I took to get here. And I have to say, I credit so much of that route that I've taken to therapy, to seeking help. And I'm not saying speaking therapy is right for everybody, but having support is what I'm telling you, right? Has been fundamental for me. But also just allowing, knowing, coming back to, yes, the yoga practice. And I'm not talking about the physical asana. I'm talking about inner feeling, self-care, slowing down, noticing breath, noticing nervous system stuff. All of this stuff is vital in helping you move and shift to a better place. And finally, I'm in this better place, and I'm able to shift all of this betterness into the Yoga Revolution. And so that's what's coming in 2024. If you're interested in learning more, email me. I have some updating to do in the realms of the Yoga Revolution website. If you're listening past November, I've probably done it, and I'll probably do it this afternoon. Do you know what I'm like? I just do stuff, quick. If I got to get something done, I'll do it yesterday. Part of my issue, yes, I know. Slow the fuck down, Chloe. This is why you're anxious all the time. Thank you for the reminder. I'm just waffling now, but yeah, that's why I'm moving into a new era of the Yoga Revolution, and it feels really, hate the word, but really authentic, really me, driven by me for the first time in a very long time. And I'm excited to go on this journey with you. Whether you're a member of the Yoga Revolution, you can join right now. Membership is from as little as $9.50 a month. It might go up. I think I'm going to put that up because, you know what? But also, if you're not a member and you're joining me on the podcast, I'm here to support you too. That's just what I do. So here's to your mental health, your physical health, and to yoga being a gateway drug, yeah? I'm seriously going to start a cult. Because, do you know that fella Osho? He had like 6 Rolls Royces, didn't he? I want a Rolls Royce. I'm kidding, I don't really, but cults do sound like a fun idea because everyone just does what you tell them to do, right? And you can't really leave. It's great. I'm kidding, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Also, please watch Wild Wild Country on Netflix. That's the Osho thing. It's madness. Absolute madness. I promise I'm not starting a cult. Okay, we end, don't we, by talking about things that make us feel good to be alive. And, look, I've been talking about it this whole episode. Things that make you, what's yours? I don't know, I'm thinking right now, I don't know. I have a tepid cup of half-drunk tea next to me. It's getting dark in this office, I haven't put a light on. It's 3:30. It's winter in the UK, what can I say? I'm not complaining. I think, I've had a music lesson today. Am I allowed to say that? Yes, I'm massively privileged. I get to pay for music lessons in a basically massive recession that's happening right now. And you know what? I have the most wonderful teacher. And I haven't practiced in like 2 weeks, and she's so lovely. And she's supported me and driven me on, and it's just nice to have that support and something I love to do. Play very terrible violin and fairly average piano. It's just nice. And it's nice. Makes me feel nice and warm. But what about you? What's your good to be alive moment today? I don't know. Send me it on a postcard. Post on Facebook or in, what is it called? Instagram? And let me know. I love to hear how you're doing. And you know what? My tea's not even that cold. Oh, it's a result. Thank you so much for listening, my friend. I hope you're feeling sparkly and inspired to live a more joyful life. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a rating. These things are invaluable to me, and share it with people who need it. This is about inspiring more people to be more connected and lead happier and more joyful lives. Join my inner circle for more inspiration. Learn more at the website theyogarevolution.co.uk and chloemarkham.co.uk. I'll see you in the next episode.